Hey everyone, welcome to BrickVault. Today we are doing a LEGO Ninjago set review sent to us from LEGO. So thanks a lot guys for sending the set over to us for a review. This is the Dragon Pit. It's the biggest set coming in at 1,624 pieces. It sells for 120 pounds, 130 US dollars or 140 euro. Euro sometimes changes a little bit, but that does make it the best part to price ratio out of any of the sets to come from this particular wave. And outside of that fact, there are a few really positive features to this set as well. I think maybe first impressions right off the bat, the main meat of the structure has a few more studs of depth inwards, which really gives it a bit more dimension than a lot of the previous Ninjago structures that usually come from these larger waves. The builds for the dragons of this entire wave are great. The Earth Dragon is no different, and we get some awesome minifigs. In fact, that's what I'm going to start the review off with. So it's no surprise that we're starting with the Dragon Master first. What is not to like about having the Golden Dragon Master decked out with all the collectible dragon armor? So he's got the Dragon Bone Blade, the Dragon Shield, the Dragon Chest Armor, the helmet, everything. He's even got a great emblem and insignia flag on the back. But when you take off the armor, this fig still looks amazing. I wasn't expecting so much white printing and sort of straps and armor to be around this figure from both front and back, but it breaks up the look of the Dragon Master, and he comes with two relatively straightforward expressions on his face, remaining exclusive to just this guy. Here is Kai coming in next. He's got a pretty standard print for his body. We've seen different versions of this guy come out in other sets from this wave. Large ringlets make up the mail on one half, the chain mail on one half of his body. The dark red arm and sleeveless arm, I think, break up the look of this figure pretty well, and he also comes with one of those katanas that has the shortened blade with a lightsaber blade type handle piece put on there. That's a relatively new piece that came out for this wave. I think it looks pretty good. Here's Zane, my personal favorite of the ninjas. His design is a pretty solid mix between silver and white. Personally, I think he's just got the best color combination out of any of the guys, with just the slightest hints of blue on the body. He doesn't have two expressions like a lot of the other ninjas because the back of his head is totally metal. And now we've got Jay. I think from this wave he remains the most colorful of any of the ninjas, as in his body is still mostly the base color, the blue for him. The detailing for him shows a lot of straps and pouches kind of all over his body, with the slight little cut on his leg. I like that detail. The scythe blade looks especially good. That is also a new molded piece for this particular wave. And finishing off the ninjas for this set, we've got Cole. Best part of the detailing for him is the fact that his shirt is relatively ripped all the way through the top. It almost looks like it's being held on by that strap that goes around his shoulder. He's got just the ever so slight subtle orange highlights on him. I do appreciate the fact that a lot of the highlight colors for the ninjas are very minimal, and it just overall gives a cleaner look to the fig. Now jumping into the bad guys, we start off of course with the Iron Baron. I still think one of the strongest aspects of this particular guy is the fact that we just have the shoulder pauldron piece turned around, which allows for a dagger blade to be attached across the chest. That mixed with a top hat and a mechanical peg leg really gives this guy just a totally unique feel, and he definitely carries that pizzazz of a supervillain with kind of the weird clothes, the odd deformation to the body, and just a little bit of flair. Also not exclusive to this set, but still a great looking fig, is Chutoy. The expression for his face is probably the thing that draws me over to him the most. You can tell that he's a bit chubbier. He also likes to eat. He comes with a chicken leg, and the addition of that armor plate piece added to the front kind of makes him look a little bit more girthy as well. Great looking metal details that wrap around the legs and the toes. He comes with a shield, one spike that sticks out of the top of the helmet, and no alternate expression. And here is Arcade. If I haven't mentioned Mad Max yet, well, I am now. He's got the welder's mask with the great orange streak that cuts across the front, a build for what looks like a slot machine counter right across the chest. It's literally built into his armor. Tons of intricate detailing that make up a metal belt, chains that go along the leg, more armor pieces along the toes and the back. And personally, I think that bracket piece with the chainsaw sticking off the back just looks awesome. He really does fit this world, I think, better than most. And then our last fig here is Heavy Metal. Not exclusive to the set, he's got a lot of prints that match up the same with other bad guys from this wave. The shoulder pauldron on his body that covers covers up his face is the same as what we saw for the Iron Baron, though it's just turned back to, I think, what is the default position. That way the knife or the katana can stick out of the back. He's got his crossbow with the Vengestone chain, probably my least favorite use of the orange highlights, but ultimately he still fits pretty well with the overall look of the bad guys. Now here are all of the figs together, solid 9 figures for sure, and we might as well check out our dragon. Now I was saying this a lot in the live stream before, but this is the first wave of Ninjago sets where I really just like the builds for the dragons. So often I just wasn't particularly impressed with the way the bodies were set up or the shapes of the heads, but that really changed with this latest wave. The Earth Dragon is no different. He's got mostly a base color of rock or stone. You can see the different types of gray, and then sand green is his highlight color with just a little bit of dark tan that goes along the face. Now, the face really is one of the strong points now. You can see, well, that's a little bit dark there. Let me hold it back a little bit, but you can see that he's got some very large fangs or tusks that kind of come in the front. The sword detailing just makes up a bit of the shape of the face. I like that that's kind of supposed to create sort of the outline of his head. And this is a printed piece. The eye on either side is an actual printed piece that make up the detailing for the Earth Dragon, which is a wholly unique thing. We really didn't get a lot of prints on previous dragons. He's got tons and tons and tons of posability. The head can go up and down, spin all the way around. The legs, both of the legs have kind of 3 points of articulation. I mean, really just 2 here, but it can go both forward, back for the shoulder here, and then outwards. And then the feet can move completely all the way around, and the toes also have the ability to move on the front. That's a lot of articulation in the back. Really small legs in the back, but we can still move them all the way out, forward and back, and then pretty much 360-degree full rotation for those sand green feet. Lots and lots of articulation. The tail can move all the way around. I like that it kind of remains very thick and doesn't get wider or thinner. It's kind of a big ball tail. You can tell that it's meant to smash here. And when you lift it up, they even bothered to put those inverted tile pieces on the bottom so you don't have the undersides of the stud showing if you want to have this thing posed up with the tail around. That's a nice little touch, not totally necessary. And then going along the same lines here, you can see the inverted slope piece underneath the chest, which just kind of gives an extra dimension of the dragon's sort of chest and lower diaphragm here, gives it a little bit more dimension. So they really did pay attention to how they wanted this dragon to look from all angles, which I don't think was a priority of maybe some of the 2013, 2014 sets for Ninjago, and actually even years later too. This really is one of the first waves where I really like all the dragons. Now his best abilities here are his weapon functions, or at least kind of his coolest weapon functions. His wings are these small areas. They're not, I can't even call them wings really, they're too thin, but they have the ability to turn around once again 360 degrees, and they can go up and down. They're just on ball joints here. Then these are the little hinge pieces that allow it to fold open and closed. These are on ratcheted joint pieces as well, with the serrated tooth pieces, and then once again ratcheted joint pieces for these little wing blades in the back. So tons and tons and tons of posability. I mean, this guy is so small, but he has, I don't even know how many joints here that can move in almost any direction that they want. So you can really do a lot of things with this dragon, which is great. And he is the only dragon from this particular wave where he doesn't come with a saddle. I like that a lot of the dragons from this wave have saddles that can detach or reattach, but he's kind of so small that you don't really need one. Oh man, I'm knocking out the Dragon Master's blade. But anyways, yeah, so you can sit a minifig down without too much trouble. Anyways, so we've got our Dragon Master sitting on the Earth Dragon. It looks great, and let's get into the Dragon Pit. So starting off with the front entrance, you can see there's a decent amount of size. I mean, it really is a large structure, but I love seeing it from kind of the side or this back angle because you get a better idea of just how much depth is here for the main center of the build. I haven't counted out the studs. That's a lot of depth. That's way more than what I think I'm normally used to seeing from this type from this type of large Lego Ninjago set. I usually feel like they're just a little bit thinner in build, but there's just tons of things to appreciate. Now, you kind of saw this in the beginning, but we have the ability to open and close the gates. The exposed gear pieces really make sense for the type of universe that we're inhabiting in this particular. Let me move that light over. In this particular universe, so we've got the gears all moving forward. You can see the exposed open track, but once again, that's kind of how it would look for the Dragon Pit. So I like that you can see everything. It's a really easy function to do, and they made it so you can open it and close it from both sides. Why not? There's no point. It's a totally, half and half build. You can activate it from both sides, which is a subtle, just little extra feature which I kind of appreciate. And then it's a fun detail here. This is a motor. It's basically just, well, I mean, you're not really supposed to be able to take it out. It's kind of geared in right there, but it's kind of the idea is that you've got an old car motor of some kind that's actually activating, or the power source, acting as the power source for the gates opening and closing. Let me turn that around for you so you can see what it looks like in the front, because it looks way cooler, I think, from the front. So the toothed gates open, and it's really good. There's a lot of friction there, and it's really easy to move. And I'm gonna get into both of these in just a second, but let's detach them for now. Really easy to detach. In fact, almost too easy. You might be a little bit overconfident by removing these and wanting to pick up all three at the same time. I would not recommend that. So I'll get them out there. Okay, and let's check out the main bit of the build. So gate function, we know that works. And then look at the skull of this dragon. Is there a good way to, you can kind of just detach it right up here. Let's see if I can do it without breaking it. And yep, you can do it. There we go. So you can take it out. It doesn't totally open or close. It kind of has the ability to open this way, and the front teeth are still built into the thing here, but still, such a great build for a dragon skull. I would love to see Lego Ninjago with their new found dragon building abilities to do something this large, or maybe even larger. If this is a skull, maybe the flesh would even be a stud or two thicker on either side. Very awesome though. Look at these are wheel well pieces or maybe windscreen pieces depending on how they get used in a set, but they make up a great curve that is almost the little arch for the eye. The nostril pieces are awesome. The teeth pieces, everything here really works. And I would definitely love to see more big builds like this. It kind of does remind me of the Triceratops skull that we recently got from the Jurassic World set. Great front headpiece though that kind of sets the tone for this dragon pit. And then in the back, I just wanted to show we've got a little broom here, fish, and a piece of chicken on either side. Coming back around to the top, there is just a fun little build. I just wanted to show this nice little decoration and detail for the cloth piece that make up, that kind of go onto either side. Fun little detail. That's pretty much it for the centerpiece. Let's move on to one of the smaller ones. This is both the watchtower and the weapons forge from the back. So starting off with the watchtower, or the sort of guard tower. First, we have a new type of function that activates a shooting function. It's a new type of shooting function that I haven't seen worked out quite the same way. You can't change the direction or angle of these two flick missiles. These are just general flick missiles, but they're attached by a chain. So if you flick one out and not at the same time as the other one, then neither of them will fly. That's why you've got this. You can do it two-handed. That works pretty well. Or you can do it one-handed. That also works just as good from the same. Same thing where you have the ability to open and close the gate from either side of the main big build. You can activate this function from either side of these knobs. No big red activation highlighting pieces, which is something that I always appreciate. And the Venge Stone chain shoots pretty consistently. See if I can hit it one more time. Oh, perfect. Look how perfect that was. So anyways, that's pretty much the best case scenario of how you want your Venge Stone chain to hit your dragon. And then the second part of this build, like I mentioned before, is the forge. So when you look at it from down below, you can see we've got our anvil. This is the little hammer. It's kind of hidden behind this little blade piece. Everything's on these sand green or olive green little clip pieces. The actual forge fire is in the back there, and some extra weapons on the side. Pretty complete looking forge. And then halfway up, there is a buildable telescope. This is, once again, it's the watchtower, so this is where the spotter would be. You can twist it from side to side. It's a little bit stiff there, but a fun little build for a telescope, making sure that no enemies or bad guys can infiltrate the dragon pit. And last but not least is the jail cell. It's a pretty simple function. We've basically just got this one knob that you can twist in the back that opens the door and simultaneously drops the trap door. It's nothing particularly special. You can see how it works. It's the same activation piece that's used for all the different aspects of this dragon pit here. And so what you can do is you can pull these two little bits back. You can pull both of those little side cages back, add one of your guys in, add Kai in or something, close it up, and he's stuck in there. But you can also activate the trapdoor open, and it also simultaneously opens the jail cell door. It's a pretty easy function to work. There isn't like a little thing that you pull out of the way and then the trapdoor drops very quickly. There's a little bit of extra friction to this particular action function as compared to maybe some of the older ones, but that doesn't mean it's really that different. Oh, look, he's kind of stuck in there. I think his sword got himself stuck. Come on, Kai, fall. There you go, see, works every time. And one more little thing to add here, this little toothed, jagged piece, it kind of breaks off the end of either of the builds, either for the jail or the watchtower. You can take it off and switch around the connection points. So if you wanted the jail on the other end of the main build as the watchtower, you could totally switch that out. It's just a little bit of extra customizability for the build if that's what you're looking for. And with that, I have hit all of the major details of the Dragon Pit set that I wanted to. The minifigs are great. I especially like the Dragon Master. The Earth Dragon is a good build. It's a really solid build, and I think it marks one of the best improvements that we've seen for an overall build style from the Ninjago theme, which is just better dragons. A similar thing can be said about the main structure here. I appreciate the extra depth. It feels a little bit more beefy. The build for this dragon skull is awesome. The action functions all work well. I don't like those red indicators that used to exist and they don't anymore, so they're all brown and they just kind of fit in with the build. All activation functions fit with the build. Nothing is too jarring. The highlight accent colors that are very bright that every Ninjago set has are relatively minimal, so the bright orange doesn't really draw your eye away from that nitty-gritty dark feel that this General Hunter's theme has. So all in all, I'd say very successful, great part to price ratio, and I have a feeling this is going to be a fan favorite from this theme for a very long time. All right, that is it for this episode, everyone. Thanks a lot for watching. If you enjoy our content, you can always like or subscribe, and we'll see you next time at BrickVault. Oh, hey everybody, hope you enjoyed that video. I just wanted to pop in really quick and say that we do have a web store, BrickVault.toys, that sell instructions for super high quality mocks that are built by incredibly talented designers. So that is the first link in the description below. And also there's other videos too. We've got other things if you want to watch that. All right, thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time at BrickVault.